The title of this video is The Fastest Way to Build Credit, and the reason you should do it now while everything is as fucked up as it is in this country, because what's going to end up happening is once we go through this cycle of the dollar being devalued down to nothing because we have a moron as the pedophile in chief. So the fastest thing that you should do or can do to build your credit is, if you have somebody in your family or a friend, a spouse even, that has, let's say, a good credit card that they've been paying on for the last, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and they have, excellent payment history, then you can have them add you on to that credit file as what's referred to as an authorized user. And so what happens is when you're added on as an authorized user, is all of that credit history, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, all of that credit history, all that positive credit history ends up coming on to your credit file, which is then going to subsequently boost your credit score. So it's a very simple process, and the magic is that it literally does not affect their credit in any way, shape, or form. You don't even have access to the card unless they give you access to the card. So if I were hypothetically going to put you on a credit card of mine, I would put you on, I would call up, let's say, I don't know, Amex, and I say, hey, look, I'm going to put my buddy on, Cheryl Johnson or some shit. And I put Cheryl Johnson on my credit card. What ends up happening is all of the history on that credit card ends up showing up on Cheryl Johnson's credit file. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and it should do all three as a rule of thumb. So once that happens, then you're typically going to get a boost in credit score. And once again, or Cheryl Johnson doesn't have any access to my credit whatsoever, or that card whatsoever, without my permission. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy the way it works. And one of the things that a lot of people do when they try to add people on is they don't give the company, Amex, the other person's social. And you need to do that because it's integral in making it work properly, so that they're applying the credit to the right person. So that's it. So I don't want to just call them up and say, hey, add Cheryl Johnson to my shit. Or you can even do it online these days, quite honestly. I know for like Capital One and a lot of the cards, you can just go online and it'll have a space for you to add somebody as an authorized user. People have been doing this forever for their kids. Like my son went to a private school for grade school, high school, whatever. And a lot of these youngsters back in the day would have this bomb-ass credit. And you're like, their parents had, good businesses, jobs, whatever. And then what they would do is they would add their kids onto their business credit cards, onto their personal credit cards in good standing. And then these youngsters, 18 years old, would have, 780 FICO scores or whatever, high sevens, right? So typically it's harder to get into the 780 range unless you have age to go with it. But if you don't have the age to go with it, you can still be in the 740s, 750s at 18 years old, 19 years old, by being added onto your parents' AUs, added on as an AU on your parents' credit cards or your parents' business credit cards or whatever. And you can do the same exact thing. And that's what makes this so cool. It is literally one of the fastest ways to build your credit up. And the other thing that I always suggest to people, as I did to my buddy last night, is get this book. And I've been using this book for decades. And the book is called Good Credit is Sexy. So Good Credit is Sexy by Rachel Walsh. And the thing about this book is it gives you case law and everything, but it's not a hard read. So I don't want you to think of it in terms of being a hard read or something. It's broken down into segments so you can find your specific issue, and you can then go after whatever it is that you're specifically trying to get removed from your credit file. So what I always tell people is In the book, you're going to find some credit repair letters, which are very useful, but don't make the mistake of utilizing those letters word for word. It's really a bad look. And also, don't type out the letters. Do not type them out. Handwrite the letters, and you're going to send them to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You can get their addresses online and all that good stuff. And you're always going to send it with a return, the green card that you get from the U.S. Post Office, a return receipt, because what happens is that starts the 30-day process. So by law, it says a reasonable period of time, which is assumed to be 30 days, right? So you want to, send off the letter, get that card back in the mail, right? Which is, then that kind of starts your countdown, if you will. And then you'll know, and then they're going to respond to you typically faster than the 30-day period of time. But the thing is, two things that I'm going to say to you is, even if the removal is denied, no big deal. Just wait a little bit and go after it again. And the other thing that I was telling my buddy last night is that you want to be extremely careful. You want to make sure that you're not going after anything that's close to coming off anyway. Because here's what happens. Let's say that you've had this debt and it's year 5, okay? And it's year 5, and we know that this stuff stays on for 7 years. So it's year 5. You want to leave that shit alone, because if you mess with it and they deny you, then they end up being able to start the clock all over again, and you literally start at day 1, and you have to work through another 7 years of waiting for it to come off. So if it's like a year or 2 before it falls off anyway, leave it alone. So, on credit, other than bankruptcies, 7 years. It stays on your credit file for 7 years. And you don't want to bother with it, once again, if it's anything close to that 7-year span or 7-year period of time. So, getting back to the major point of this shit is, if you want to build up a quick, fast credit score, now's the time to do it. The country, in my humble opinion, is way fucked up, and it's about to get way worse. And this pedophile in chief is going to have us in a major war. That's what I believe anyway. And we're going to have a crash. We're, in my humble opinion, from everything I read, see, and hear, we're going to have a crash, and we're going to go to war, not with just like, Venezuela or some bullshit like that. We're going to go to war with countries that can afford to, they have the wherewithal to be able to beat some ass. All right. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying we're going to lose. I'm just saying that you fight, like what often happens, the United States will go and beat up on somebody like Iraq or some bullshit like that, or Venezuela. Next, I understand it might be Cuba. You beat up on countries that don't have the wherewithal to fight back. But the world is getting tired of this bullshit. And so I think there's going to be some issue coming up. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my glasses. There's going to be some, we're going to start fucking with the wrong people. And those individuals are going to just say, okay, if that's what you want, bring some ass and to take some ass, you know what I mean? And it's going to be a really fucked up situation, which is going to really devastate our economy overall, because we're already economically fucked up, and it's getting worse and worse. $38 trillion worth of debt. And so banks aren't really giving out money right now because they just don't have it. I was seeing a report the other day, and they were talking about how some banks are in real terms insolvent, right? So meaning they ain't got no goddamn money. But on they're able to float the boat, you know what I mean? They're able to keep stuff looking right. But a lot of banks are just yeah, man, they're not doing good, and they're faking the funk, and they're acting like they're doing good, and they're not. And we're gonna have more and more banks. Sorry, I keep on moving my phone around. We're gonna have more and more banks going out. But I'm trying to tell you that you got to start building up your credit now. You got to get incorporated now, right? And start transferring as much bullshit out of your name and into a legal business entity. That's my humble opinion. You want to safeguard yourself as much as possible. And if you're able to build up your business properly, right? Your LLC or corporation properly, and your personal credit. Your personal credit is paramount. You really want to make sure you build up your personal credit properly. It's absolutely paramount. I need to shave, I can see. It's absolutely paramount to build up your personal credit during this phase that we're going through, because what's going to happen on the back end of this phase is that in order for the country to stay solvent, they're going to have to print more and more dollars, and then they're going to have to put those dollars into circulation within the country, right? In the country and outside of the country, but primarily it's going to have to be within the country. They're going to have to create as much circulation of capital as possible. And that's where your good credit is going, and your good business credit is going to allow you to really come up, right? You're going to be ahead of the game. So the first thing that I'm going to suggest you do is if you have somebody in your family or friends or close associates that are willing to put you on one of their credit cards, keep in mind, you can tell them and they can research it for themselves, or you can research it and then give them the information. You will have zero connection to that card, other than, in other words, you won't be able to access it in any way, change anything. You won't be able to do anything. And they can literally ask the credit grantor, the company, let's say it's Amex or Capital One or whomever, they can ask them, and they will tell them point blank that no, you, as the authorized user, have zero access to their card. Zero, outside of whatever they give you. Even when the company, because they typically will send out a credit card, that credit card is going to be sent to their address with your name on it. It's going to be under their account, obviously, with a different credit card number than their primary creded card. But it's going to be sent to their address, and then they will have the choice to decide if they even want to give it to you, or they can just shred it. And what I say most is that they should shred that card, and you should want them to shred the card, because you don't want any issues of somebody saying that you went out and ran up a bunch of shit, did a bunch of spending that you should not have been doing. So have them shred the card. And go from there. That's the very first thing you should do. And then the second thing you should do is get the book Good Credit is Sexy, and then start working on the low-hanging fruit on your credit. So the best thing that you should work on, in my humble opinion, is knocking off inquiries. So inquiries hit you on your credit from anywhere from 2 to 3 points up to 5 points. So the more inquiries you have, then the more points that they're going to charge, they're going to put against those inquiries. If you have 3 inquiries a year, no big deal. You're going to be in the two points knocked off your credit per inquiry range. You get multiple more inquiries, then they're going to start hitting you like 3 points off of your credit score for every inquiry. If you get like a shitload of inquiries, it's going to be like 5 points of inquiry. So if you think about it in these terms, your ass could have like a 700 FICO score right now, but you got 10 inquiries. And so, 10 times 5 is what? 50. So now you're at 650. You have a 650 FICO score because your ass got too many inquiries. Stop all that bullshit, right? You need to learn how to go after. Sorry about that. My phone it's the wifey. I have to call her back. Annie, let me call you right back. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyways, you want to make sure that you are not getting a bunch of inquiries. And the best way to do that is your ass needs to, if you choose to apply for something, you really, 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 really have to go after things like credit cards or whatever that you're applying for that will not do a hard inquiry. There is a lot of cards that will do a soft pull until you get approved. And if you get approved, then they'll subsequently do a hard pull on your credit file. It's real simple. And there's a lot of them out there. And I tell everybody, like I told my buddy last night, I'm just giving you a rundown of what I was telling him, is that what you should do, in my humble opinion, is you should sign up with Experian. And then it's going to cost you maybe $29 a month unless they've gone up. You're going to want to do that. You're going to want to sign up with Experian because they're like the big ball. The big ball is the big credit bosses on the block. Once you sign up with Experian, then you're going to be able to run a tri-pull, which is going to allow you to be able to pull all 3 credit bureaus under that one account, under your one Experian account. And you're going to want to do that periodically because you're already paying for it every month, so it doesn't hurt you to because it's a soft pull, so it doesn't hurt you to go ahead and apply and pull, pay the $29, and then subsequently once a month or every quarter do a credit pull so you can see where you're at. Anyways, I'm looking around. I'm sitting in my drive, so I'm just looking around, So anyways, that's what I would suggest. So number one is become an authorized user or on someone else's good credit card. That's number one. Number two, get the book Good Credit is Sexy. Very important. Once you get the book Good Credit is Sexy, I'm telling you, it's a golden book. I've used it for decades to help people. When I used to do more of that, I used to literally help people remove stuff off of their credit file, utilizing the information in the book Good Credit is Sexy by Rachel Walsh. So it's a bomb-ass book. It gives you case law, it gives you all that. I've had 2 family members go to court utilizing the information in that book for their specific situation, and it did well, right? So it did what they needed it to do. So that's something you need to consider. The other thing is, after you get someone to allow you to be an AU on their credit, on one of their credit cards or 2 of their credit cards, but you really don't want to do 3, 4. Just keep it down to 2, 3 at the outside, right? So once you do that, then you're going to want to turn around and do the next thing, which is Good Credit is Sexy. And then you're going to do something else, which is very important. You're going to start going out and getting primary accounts. There's a ton of places that you can get primaries from. So you can get a secured credit card. You can go to your bank, credit union, check and see if they have secured loans. And what typically happens is, on a secured loan through a bank, credit union, or what have you, is hypothetically you take them $1,000, and what they're going to do is they're going to charge you, like $100 or $150 or something like that, and then they're going to give you credit that's going to report to the credit bureaus. And so that $1,000, it's going to show up as a $1,000 loan. They're going to charge you, like $150 as a fee, and then they're going to obviously put a little bit of interest on it, but the payments are probably going to be around $30 because it's secured money. So you could have the worst credit in the world, but it's secured, so no one gives 2 shits. So that's what I would do next. But there are, I don't know, man, there's so many companies nowadays that do that type of thing. Credit cards, Capital One, they have a secured card, but there's a wealth of them. There's a wealth of companies, and you can just look them up, that will give you secured loans. And once again, all you're going to do is, you're going to deposit X amount of dollars with them. They're going to charge you a small fee. And then after they charge you that small fee, they're going to charge you monthly, which is going to be you working on paying it off. Even if you can afford to pay it off, though, I'm going to tell you up front, try to let it run out for 6 months at least. You want that. You want the consistency of you making payments, because one of the big things with them, with credit in general, is they like to see consistency of you making payments. Credit is 3-dimensional, right? It's height, width, and depth. Height, width, and depth. The height obviously is the score. Depth is age, and width is how much credit you have. So you always are looking for the best height, width, and depth. Now, one of the things that's important about you signing up with Experian is that Experian's ass will tell you exactly what you need to do to build up a bomb-ass credit score. So if you go, most people don't read the damn thing. So you log in, you go to your account, and then you go to the very bottom of the page in your specific account, and it will tell you, it'll have graphs and all kinds of shit, and it'll tell you point blank, yo, bitch, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it'll tell you what you should be doing. You need, because they grade different kind of credit differently. So it might tell you need more store cards, and then so you find some place where you can get some store cards, but you always find some place that will do a soft pull, and then if you get approved, then subsequently they'll give you, then they'll do a hard pull after you're approved. So you got to find those places. It's hugely important. The other thing I will suggest to you is that if you were trying to build up your personal credit as you should be right now during this down phase, so that way when when stuff starts popping, you're ready. You know what I mean? You're ready to build up like real money and do real things. Like start buying property. You're gonna buy property, tax lien sales, city liens, all that kind of shit. That's how you should be buying property. All this other magic Mike bullshit, no. Buy property, and you're, once again, as it's commonly said, if you buy a tax lien sale, you're buying it for pennies on the dollar. And tax lien sales are not just county. Cities do tax lien sales and other various type of sales. Cities will charge a person for not cutting their grass, or all these other type of ancillary bullshit things that cities will screw their citizens with. And you can actually buy those liens and then subsequently in the adjudicated period of time, foreclose on that property, just like you would with a tax lien sale. So it's just something to think about. It's just, other ways of generating capital. So that's it. Start building up your credit, your personal credit right now. We have a coaching program. It's just $49 a month, right? So for $49 a month, we'll coach you. We'll coach you, meaning typically me. Personally, I do have a few teammates, but it's mainly me. And so therefore you can see these bags under my eyes. My ass is tired, from grinding. But long story short is, if you want to be coached, you'll have access to me. You can reach out and I'll call you back. I always prefer people to text me. You reach out and via text, right? In the text, all it has to say is consult in the text, and then I will call you back and we'll chop it up. And right now, it's $49 a month, just FYI. But right now, if you text me free consult, I'll give you your first consultation absolutely free. And if you like it, then you pay the $49. And if you pay the $40, glasses are so fucking uncomfortable for me. You pay the $49 and then we continue on, and you'll pay the $49. I think you'll get way more value. I believe that you'll get thousands and thousands of dollars of value from that $49, way more value than you could possibly imagine. Because as an entrepreneur, the thing that you're going to find is, it's not that you don't have the ideas, but you don't have the someone else, like my wife, lovely person. She's an amazing individual, but she's not business minded. So, to a degree, everybody's business minded, but it's not her passion. It's not her thing. Right. So simply put, if you are entrepreneurial minded or just develop minded, right? You want to build yourself, build your business. You want to, just flip the script on some shit. You need someone to talk to. Then you can, for that $49 a month, these glasses are getting on my nerves. For that $49 a month, you can hit me, and we can chop it up, go through whatever it is that's happening with you, and I can give you my 30 plus years of business experience and thoughts and whatever, and give you the resources that you need. I'll point you in the direction. Most of the resources are either free or minimal in cost, but I'll point you in the direction of those resources that you need to develop and grow your business. That's it. So hit me up. Go to our website, right? So you can just literally go to not our okay. So this is our Vanguard Global LLC channel, which I've had for, I don't know, since 2014, something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood, 2013, 2014, something like that. But if you go to LLC and Corporations Plus, it'll be in the description. LLC and Corporations Plus. You go there and you'll see our number. It's a 562 number, and you can just text that 562 number. You text me. Free consult will be your first free consultation, right? You text me free consult. We chop it up. If you like what you're hearing, then you can move forward with the whole $49 a month. There's no contracts. There's none of that bullshit. You do it for 1 month and you don't like what you're getting, stop, please. Quite frankly, I don't want you if you're not getting value from our conversations. All right. And it's always live. It's never, some AI crazy shit. AI is cool to a degree, but I don't know. I'm big on real person stuff. So it's going to be me or, one of a few other people that work with me. And that's it. And we can help you develop and grow your business and give you someone to talk to. And, which is huge, right? Because you can have all these thoughts in your head and you're fucking brainstorming, but you're missing something. And what you're missing is someone that you can chop it up with about your thoughts, your business, and so you can start making stuff pop, because you don't have all the fucking answers, and neither do I. But together we can figure out some stuff and make it happen, right? And for $49 a month, and once again, I believe you're going to get thousands of dollars of value for that $49 a month. And you're going to talk to a real person, either me or one of my teammates. And that's it. It's a wrap. So once again, go to LLC and Corporations Plus.com. You'll find our number, 562 number. Text me, free consultation, or just put free consult instead of the whole thing. Free consult. And then I or someone else will reach back out to you. More than likely, it's going to be me, to be honest with you. And we'll just go from there. But now is the time to prepare and protect yourself. And there's so much more information that I'm willing to give to you and help you with, more than I can do in this almost 30-minute video. All right, take care, y'all, and hit me.